to the point of the SEC changing their complaint live in person. If you guys want to see them caught with their pants down, this is fantastic. So this is the transcript. This is right out of the transcript from the courtroom. And there's probably many, many other parts, but we found this one particularly interesting. Hexologist tweeted it out the other day. So anywhere where you see the court is going to be Judge Amon speaking, and then a Mr. Caruvia or whatever is going to be the guy from the SEC.
Yeah.
So,
do you want me to read it to help save your voice?
I'll give it my best shot here. So,
right, go ahead.
So the judge says, "Let me clarify one thing, which will shorten the arguments. Addressing the SEC, you have abandoned, I take it, any alter ego theory that you had set forth in the original complaint. That's gone." And what she's referring to is the Richard Hart and his alter egos of Pulse, X, and Hex, which was on the short list of most moronic, you would say, things that were in the complaint. The SEC representative says, "Your Honor, it's not part of this motion. It's not relevant to this motion." She says, "Have you abandoned those claims or not?" Counsel raised the issue, she's talking about RH's attorneys, that they weren't viable claims, that the Pulse chain, the blockchains themselves weren't entities. Are you pursuing that or not pursuing that? SEC says, "I think with respect to alter ego, Your Honor, we allege that because we had some facts to suggest that Mr. Hart has control over these entities, that he's controlling the websites, etc." She says, "But you've named the blockchains themselves as defendants. What's the basis for doing that? Are you continuing to do that or maintain that they're defendants?" SEC says, "Right, Your Honor. Again, it's not relevant for this motion, but we are," now he's stuttering, "the reason we did that in the first place was because, again, to the extent there's an argument that Mr. Hart is not responsible for any of the conduct that's alleged in the complaint, that these are all with the responsibility of Hex and Pulse Chain and Pulse X because they exist on the blockchain. He has no control over them. They're their own thing. We wanted to ensure when we pled that we are covering the entire scheme, that we're covering all possible defendants. So that's why, Judge says, "I'm sorry, why isn't it relevant to the motions? It was part of their motion to dismiss, I think." He says, "Right, and we haven't responded to that argument, Your Honor." She says, "So you're agreeing that they should be dismissed then?" He says, "It's not part of our right. It's not part of our theory for why the court would have personal jurisdiction." So they just tried to sweep this ridiculous shit under the rug because they know it's ridiculous shit and that they were called out on it by RH's attorneys. And she basically uses like the Socratic method or whatever you want to say to get them into admitting that they fucked this up entirely, basically. So insane. Yeah. What do you make of that exchange?
It's just comical. You know, as you said, the big thing is that she's very prepared. She understood this. She read it very thoroughly, did her homework, knew that they had left it out, and you know, it just goes to them kind of flying by the seat of their pants as to what part of this is she going to pick up on and kind of run with, and what part not. And you know, again, the things that, you know, I remember Nuclear saying at one point, you have to be very careful about what you put in your original complaint, because you can't add to it after that, right?
You can't even really edit it.
You shouldn't edit it. You can drop things, and that's kind of what she's asking them right here. Is you're not even talking about this part of the complaint. Are you getting rid of it? So, you know, she again just very prepared, very on top of it, and giving these guys a hard time, which they deserve because they weren't prepared. Again, this is a throw it at the wall, see what sticks kind of thing, and she's not having it. It's pretty clear that she's not having it. So I love it. I love the response. I love the fact that that's pretty much all gone, right? I mean, according to them, they're saying, right, we haven't responded, and it's not part of our theory. So again, this all goes back to jurisdiction, and I think that's what we're arguing right now. It's not all the other stuff. So whether whether the other stuff even comes up, it I think this pushes us in the direction of dismissal. Because again, you know, just that comment alone, man, where does the blockchain live?
Hmm.
It makes me think that she's really considering it. There's no target here. There's really nothing that we should be doing about it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the more I talk about it myself, the more I'm kind of pumping myself up to the the dismissal side. But you've got to be cautiously optimistic about it. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
you
think it's
do.
great. I think it's great.
Well, we're on a hell of a run of bullish news, so that would be quite the insane
Right?
bullishness if we
How
got that
about
as
it?
a Christmas present or a New
And
Year's
I
present.
do want to bring one thing up. I told you I was going to mention this. We kind of read through this little snippet here, but and I brought these guys up earlier too because they were at the thing. But DGen Roundtable on their channel, it was the two of those guys and SJ. They all did a read through of the entire transcript. So,
Hmm.
SJ was the judge. She read the judge part. One guy read the Richards lawyers, and the other guy read the SEC lawyers. So, pretty cool if you just want to watch and listen to it rather than read through the whole thing. It is kind of, obviously it's lawyer talk, and if you don't enjoy reading but listening, check it out because it was pretty cool to hear some of the things that were said um, as it played out. I didn't catch the whole thing. I caught most of the later part of it, but it was I was working and doing other stuff while I was listening to it, so it was kind of neat to hear how it played out and the exact transcript of it. So go
Yeah,
ahead and check that out on DGen Roundtable's channel.
definitely an awesome idea to do that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I am with you. I mean, the thing with judges, and I know even from my own experience, is like it can really seem, and I'm not saying that she's going to do a 180 over how the vibes were from her. I don't mean that. But it can really seem like, oh man, she may dismiss this thing. Like she was grilling the SEC. She's on our side. It can seem like that because a good judge is extremely professional and stone faced like a poker player. Now, even though they will have facial expressions or they may like say or certain things some ways that you can pick stuff up, at the end of the day, you don't know what they're going home and thinking. And not only that, she has all this time to reflect. So what happens in the courtroom is one thing over the course of an hour or two. She has a lot of time to reflect.
yeah,
And she, while it may seem like, wow, I mean, yeah, it seems like she wants to dismiss this thing, she may have time to reflect. And I do think at the very least we will be getting a partial dismissal. I don't think it's just going to move forward totally as is with how unprepared that they are,
no, I don't either.
Um, and even if it did, she's extremely skeptical of the SEC here. You can tell. So,
Yep.
um, yeah. Well, I think we're sitting pretty no matter what. And again, this is something I've kind of said a lot for a long time. I think other people have too. Is like we shouldn't really be taking the SEC that seriously. I know we're sitting here dedicating a whole segment to this tonight because it is something that happened to our ecosystem. But I mean, if you take people just don't take them seriously anymore. They're losing every single crypto lawsuit. I mean, people just, and now again, this Trump victory, it's not going to hurt the price
No.
of this ecosystem. This is more so a badge to wear if
Mhm.
we beat these fuckers.
Yep. And
That's more it.
that's exactly what it is. It will maybe help some of the gatekeeping stop. It will be a badge of honor where we can say, listen, we faced the SEC and won. What more do you want? Flawless operation for what in less than a month. It will be 5 years. I mean, what more do we have to go through for you guys to stop saying scam? Win the SEC case, flawless operation for 5 years. Yes, the price is down, but everything's down. So, that's exactly what it is. It is a badge of honor. It is something that we can, move forward and say, you guys gotta allow us on something exchange wise or whatever it may be, or just stop with the scam. So yeah, I think that's more important than anything. But you're right; it can't hurt us. It can't stop it. nothing can stop that contract from running. Right?
Right, exactly.
You know,
Great man once said that. Yeah.
great man once said that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, great stuff all around. Yeah, I couldn't be more thrilled with everything that we got out of that. And most of all, again, this community showing out for Richard, showing out for the ecosystem and stuff like that, I think was just fantastic. And I'm sure left quite an impression. And who knows how much she's thinking about that as she makes her decision too.
Yeah.
So